What's up, Matty? Welcome back. Coming off our first week of picks, which was I think it was pretty good overall in college. We'll move into today. Well, a lot of Yankee talk, and then we'll talk about Week 1 in the NFL. It's kind of crazy week around here with the storms in the Northeast, so I'm going to lean on you for the Yankees as I didn't get to watch as much as I normally would in a regular week. This area got pummeled pretty bad. But I'll kick it to you, Maddie. How you doing?
I'm good, ready for episode 13. Good, enjoying the long weekends. And I have a teacher work day tomorrow, so another day. I don't have to go to school. So,
Wow,
yeah, so,
glory! That is a glorious thing. That is a
yeah,
glorious thing. Uh, wish it was me. I'll be back at work
yeah.
tomorrow, but we won't be moving on. So let's talk. What do we think about the Yankees? It went from the ultimate peak to now we're falling down into back into the toilet again. Something about the Orioles and the Yankees. It just is not mixing this year.
I mean, I know we've obviously had these conversations go up and down. I mean, constantly. I mean, throughout the whole summer, all these episodes, I feel like almost every single one, there's either been one where it's talking highly about them and then it's talking bad about them. But I think an overall statement on what doesn't even matter how they finish off this year. I think I just have to make this statement is whether I fly out for a playoff game, which I probably will because I still love the Yankees, but I don't really
Of
have
course, we love them. We don't give up on them because they have a
I
bad
don't have
streak.
trust in them though. Like I don't have faith in them and I know we're like, "Oh, 13-game winning streak. This is great." But the fact on how they just turn that great switch off and that competitiveness off after a couple losses, I I just with how they played
Let
against
me
the
ask you,
Orioles,
it coincided with changing the lineup again. Now, you bring back Urshela and Torres. Do you lose the energy that Odor and Velasquez was bringing and that emotion? I mean, Stanton's continued to hit, Judge's continued to hit, Gallo's continued to disappoint, in my opinion,
I 100% agree. I
except
don't have
for defense. Pitching, Tyone hasn't been as good as he was. It's
yeah.
not the same, but maybe they got to go back to the kids.
I I don't like Gleyber Torres at all. I think the way you could see his temperament on the field is just kind of like bored or something. I'm so sick of the way he's played this year. It doesn't even look like he's interested. Now I'm just saying that from my point of view, how I see him play. He looks disinterested, and I wouldn't care if the Yankees got rid of him this offseason. I don't think he's a pivotal part to this team. This is now 2 straight years that he's shown he can't perform offensively like he once could. I think
I,
Urshela, yeah, it's gonna take some time because he's had like back to back to back injuries riding on it, like return and a couple games that get injured. His defense is still fabulous. I still love Urshela, but Torres, I'm not a fan of Torres. I rather see him on the bench and see a spot for Velasquez or Odor or LeMay playing short
well,
than
I think
Torres.
the more likely scenario is Torres traded in the offseason and Trevor Story and the Yankees start talking, and we'll see what happens there.
Or Corey
Although that,
Seager.
yeah, all these guys would break the bank salary cap, or not salary cap wise, luxury tax wise. So we'll see what kind of Yankees it is, whether they'll
Yeah.
engage in that. I would much rather them spend money on pitching. They've got enough hitting. They just need to actually do
But
it.
the hitting's not exactly. And I think everyone's like, well, the Yankees could get Gallo. I think really the best trade has been Rizzo, and it was under the radar because Rizzo has had his ups and downs
And Rizzo
offensively,
was
defensively.
stolen. They thought he was going to the Red Sox. So
But
it's
his at bats are so Gallo. And this is my
Gallo's been a
still
huge disappointment, and from the get
a
go,
hundred
because they
percent.
they love guys. Everything that he didn't do, like I don't, he doesn't ground into ground ball plays ever. It's
Doesn't.
happened in the last week. It's happening. Like he strikes out too
We
much.
don't need another light tower power guy. And I think the problem
Yeah.
is with Judge. Usually in a big scenario, you don't see that big strikeout. Stanton occasionally has that, but these scenario like he had a big homer against the Orioles the other day, but that didn't do it much because they won the game. And he's had a couple of those moments like against the Mariners and against now the Orioles with those big home runs. But if you're gonna hit one big home run every 10 to 15 games and you're gonna do nothing in that
The Yankees got Gary Sanchez doing that.
Judge and Stanton can do that. I think Gallo, honestly, with what he gives defensively, Stanton looks awesome defensively, and everyone's doubting him. I tell you what, I need to make that clear. I love Giancarlo Stanton, and I can't stand all these people that sit here and hate on him because you can't
Yeah,
hate on
but
him
I
because
bet if you rolled the
Boone
tape
and
back
Cashman.
about a year ago, you'd be hating on him, and not.
But Judge everyone loves Judge, and Judge gets just as injured as Stanton does. So like you can't.
Uh,
It's a lot of
Homegrown talent.
hypocriticalness.
Judge is also not getting paid $300 million
Yeah, that's true.
yet. So
He's having an incredible season. He deserves the money. I'm not gonna sit here
I
and
don't know about if
watch the
anyone
Yankees.
deserves that kind of money. I don't think anyone's doing, except maybe doctors are doing life-saving work that deserve that kind of money. The owners don't deserve it, but
Well,
regardless,
out of anyone,
compared to the
any
league,
player that gets it, he deserves it.
we'll all take what is going on right now for
Yeah.
Judge and Stanton. Um, about how many games left we talking, Matty?
Let's see. They, I thought the Yankees were in competition for another 100 win season, but quickly they've gotten rid of that. They're 78 and 58. So let me see. If they wanted to get 100 wins, they would have to go
They got a little less than 30 games left.
26 games. They would have to go 22 and 4 to win 100 games, which is bleak. I mean, a 13 game winning
I
streak
don't
would
care
change
about the
those odds.
100 games. It doesn't look like you're going to catch the Rays,
Yeah, that
unless
ship
they
sailed.
unless they hit a slide. So work on that home game and set up your pitching so that it's Cole pitching in that game, and we'll go from there.
Well, I think it's critical. Like you look at their schedule. Their schedule is one of the easiest schedules, and going into the end of the season. And the Rays, it's the other way around. Now the Rays lost yesterday. Red Sox lost yesterday. But I think it's shocking to believe now the Red Sox are a half game back of the Yankees, which is, I mean,
Yeah.
that's beyond me. And the Red Sox played the start a 3 game set with the Rays, and the Yankees start a 4 game home set against the Blue Jays. This is where you gotta take control. And we said that with the Orioles, they didn't do it. But you look, their schedule is pretty easy. Like you look at these teams they face,
They've
they
almost
play
done better against the harder teams, though.
exactly. You got 4 games against the Blue Jays, 3 games against the Mets, makeup game against the Twins, 3 on the road in Baltimore, 3 at home against the Indians, 3 at home against the Rangers. Those are all serious. You could honestly sweep that entire schedule through there. And then you have 3 games set against the Red Sox, 3 games set against the Blue Jays, both on the road, then 3 at home against the Rays. You have a lot of you have 3 against the Red Sox, 3 against the Rays. You got to channel that in your mind, 2 out of 3 at least in each of those series. Those are the series you got to win. But you got to look at also these easy series. Like the Mets are starting to get hot, but I'm not worried about the Yankees losing to the Mets. But these series like the Orioles, Rangers, Indians, Blue Jays, those are key series,
Well,
and those make the
Blue Jays are not a pushover though.
yeah, the Blue Jays play the Yankees hard. That like they could very easily lose,
They
but
got a strong lineup that could rack up a lot of runs and put you in trouble.
yeah, and with the Yankees now going to play 20 straight days because of that makeup game, they and the bullpen is going to be tired out. This is where they're going to need guys like Cole, who's been fantastic, fantastic. I think he's a lock for the AL Cy Young. He's
Lock,
really
huh?
turned it around. I mean, I don't see that. I mean, Lance Lynn, whatever. Like, I don't. That guy's hittable. Like, I've seen the Yankees crush
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Like, I
I've
like.
seen him pitch for the Yankees and get crushed.
Yeah, and he's not. There's nothing really by far impressive. Otani's not really that impressive on the mound to me, and
He hasn't been as impressive in the second half from the mound, but he continues to hit, and I
and
continue.
offensively, honestly, no
And
one's saying that. Offensively and pitching wise, in the second half, the numbers are all
he's
lower
still
than
hitting.
what they were
He's
in the first
still
half.
hitting home runs, and I'd still gladly take him over Corey Kluber, who might never start again.
I think he
No.
starts. No, did he start yet? He started. He start. I'm done with him. Honestly, if you can't pitch,
2 weeks ago, he was you were taking
I could
him
pitch
over.
5 shutout innings against the Orioles.
Oh,
Honestly,
please,
like like
let's
this,
be
this
ridiculous.
guy's ridiculous. Honestly, I mean, and now like the
His
start,
arm is
everything,
shot.
everything's cracking. Like literally, Aroldis chap. Like this is ridiculous. You can't. And that second game of the series is all Gary Sanchez's fault because honestly, you can't secure a swinging strike three wild pitch. That's the reason the Yankees lost that last game because that if Chapman's on a mojo, he starts ending off with a strikeout. Great, but then he starts the inning with a base with a base runner. Like it's a complete opposite, and he just crinkles. And I would ask the Yankees this one question: what is going on? Why can he not throw 102, 103 anymore? Why is he throwing a 96-mile-per-hour fastball?
Maybe
That's
he
the
can't
real
grip it.
question. No, but I don't care about this like
Maybe,
finger
yeah, but
thing and like
it could have been COVID. We don't know. We have no idea what's going on behind the
it's
scenes.
ridiculous. I mean, Cole had COVID. Cole is reaching 101. Like
I
Cole's
know.
throwing
Well,
the
but
best.
not everyone feels the same way. I think the frustrating thing for me about baseball is like football or hockey. You're not playing well. You could be physical and you could set a tempo by being physical. And baseball, you
Yeah,
can't do that. Like you can't force your will on someone. If another pitcher
yeah.
is just blowing fastballs by you, there's no kind of energy or will that you could muster up to get it. All you could do is try to bear down and focus. And
Well,
those,
that's what's coming unraveled now as the Yankees fans are realizing these trades now for Gallo and Heaney are hurting
Heaney's
them.
Heaney is horrible.
Heaney's had one good
Gallo's not
start against
hurting
the
them any
Red Sox.
different than beforehand, and Gallo you have for another year, so I'd put that one aside.
He,
But
I
Heaney
mean,
sucks. Ugh, he's
you
terrible.
guys, this is the problem with baseball. Anthony Rizzo chokes up on the bat, 2 strikes. These guys, you have to do something besides strike out in a scenario. I understand the stuff's great,
Yeah,
but my biggest
but they
problem with
don't
the
get paid to do that anymore. They get paid to hit the ball hard. Like that's why everyone loves Gallo because he hits all the metrics that they want. But for people who watch baseball, it's really frustrating just like having
the
so many
short porch hasn't been doing much though. Like he
just
hasn't been
dead
hitting
out
ropes
too.
into the.
Just it's terrible.
Well,
And
the problem
just to
is
see him stretch over there, up and down, and then swing and miss. It's like, jeepers.
he's all over the place. And honestly, the Yankees obviously know much more about baseball than I do. But my biggest problem, and Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton are hitting so well, but these guys would be 400 hitters if they swung at the first pitch, which is right down the middle of. I saw Judge strike out yesterday, and here's this. This is the at bat. First pitch, fastball right down the middle, takes it. Second pitch, slider, left hand corner, strike two. 0-2 now. You're dead as a duck. Throws a slider in the dirt, 1-2. Fastball high, 2-2. Then
Here
just
comes
throws
the
a
slider again.
slider in the dirt, swung on him. What is wrong with you? Like swing the
But
bat at a
it's
pitch in the
yeah,
zone.
you got to
It's
remember
beyond
that
me.
yeah, but you're making it sound so easy. Like that he knows the slider's coming, but he's sitting fastball, and when it looks good, that's the whole skill of baseball. Is like the pitcher's playing too, trying to trick him. So it is frustrating watching them strike out all the time. But I get it. If I'm Aaron Judge, he's getting struck out for his entire career on that low outside pitch. That's too
Ugh,
low for him to get to. So
exactly. Yeah.
so
He's already at a
every
disadvantage.
pitcher knows that you just play with that strike zone, try to get it a little lower and a little farther each way, and if the umpire
Get
gives
the
you
call
anything,
in.
he's dead. And I can't really always blame Judge for it. Saying sometimes the
Well,
pitcher's good
my
and
my problem is when I see guys in the league, and I know my dad never went to play in the MLB, obviously, or in college, but he always told me when I was younger, and he said he played varsity baseball in high school when he was in ninth grade. That always first pitch, if it was the best pitch you're gonna see, and he just came unglued on it, and that's most of the time where he'd get his
yeah,
first
well,
hits.
let's be clear. What happens in high school and what happens in the majors is drastically different. Yes, there are times where you could sit on a fastball, but there is also tons of statistical information where the other team knows exactly, does he swing at the first pitch? Does he not? Does
No,
he?
exactly. If I'm facing Judge and
So there's a
Stanton,
chess game going
fastball right
on,
down the middle, first
but
pitch.
there's a chess game, and then Judge is going to wait for a moment, and he's going to sit on a first pitch fastball and launch it over the fence, and then this strategy is going to ebb and flow and ebb and flow. But for the most part, if you haven't seen the pitcher yet, you take a first pitch, see what he's got, try to get deeper in the count and see early in the game, and late in the game is when you attack. But there are
Yeah, well, that's the
so many
problem.
strategies going on. You have the strike zone, the umpire, the pitcher. It's just not as easy. That's why the
Yeah.
game is so hard. That's why these guys get paid a
Well, I
lot.
think the important thing is when these guys start guessing at the plate, which is like I don't like in a big okay. There's a massive difference between all right. It's the bottom of the first. Stanton's up 2 outs in the inning. He's probably looking to just rope a homer. Honestly, like he's not looking to start a rally or something in the first inning, 0-0. But that's different. Like if I see a strikeout and he's waiting on something, that's different. But late in the game, like for example, yesterday, Yankees, bottom ninth inning, down by a run, Judge and Stanton are up. And they're not ready. They're looking for one pitch, and they're not ready for anything that's close to try to put it in play and do something. I
Yeah,
feel
but
like that's the problem. Because if you're looking for a slide, the pitchers are just as smart as the hitters, if
but
not smarter.
even if you're looking for it, doesn't mean you could hit it, especially a breaking pitch, because that
Yeah,
it might be a great slider and you can't get a hold of it. Anyway,
yeah.
we've rambled on about the same thing for a while now. Anything left with the Yankees before we move on to Week 1 of the NFL?
I think you just gotta focus it game by game, and because you're now going in with
They
26
know
games
the
left.
mission that they're hearing it ad nauseum in their locker room, one game at a time, one pitch at a time. But
Well, you look though, if you look at the wild card standings, a good thing to point out here, and you could feel some form of like comfort, is really it's they're running at the division. They're not winning enough to get to the division. They're 7.5 back, and the Rays are just
the
they're
Rays are
not
just
winning when the Rays
Rays
they're
are
not
just
winning
too
when the
hot.
Rays are losing, and in the wild card right now they have the first one by half a game, but outside of that, the closest team's 3 games out of the Red Sox and the Yankees. So you're pretty secure with the Red Sox. So it's going to be.
I wouldn't. What do you mean? You're pretty secure with the Red Sox.
I mean, 3 games.
Go
That's three.
go back 3 weeks ago, and the Yankees were everyone doom and gloom, not making the playoffs and out of it. 3 games is nothing. It could change in a weekend. So they are not
Yeah,
in the clear. The old adage, one game at a time. We'll see how they go. I have faith in them. I think they will hit enough. I think they will be in the wild card, and then they're going to have to lean on Cole to carry them through that game to get to the next step.
I agree. If they get a home wild card, I'm not really worried. Depends on the team they face. I'm not. I
Anything in
don't.
a one game, I'm worried about. I mean, the Orioles just had a guy who barely could pitch the other day, throw 5 no-hit innings. So, like, it doesn't matter who, and
Yeah.
especially you add the pressure of the
Yeah.
playoffs in there.
Well, you look though really with if you look though at an opportunity when you have like if the Yankees are at home against the Red Sox with Cole, the the Red Sox don't have a knockout punch pitcher that besides Evaldi, but I'm not worried about Evaldi unless we're in Fenway. So if the Yankees are at home with Cole against anyone, I'm not really afraid because of the stuff he's got and the way the Yankees play at home during the playoffs. So I think that's the key. Just get yourself a home playoff game, ride it on Cole, and things should go your way, and you should be moving on. But and I think it's a dream come true if you play the Rays in the division series. I want that. I want that bad.
I have
But
no
I know
interest
we got to get to
because
football.
they're boring. The Rays, they don't interest
They're
me.
not. We're gonna get more Yankees fans at the Trop than Rays fans in
Yeah.
the division series. So
All right, Week 1 of the NFL kicks off this week, and it's like a holiday for me. It's the best weekend of the year. You know that feeling. We kick off Thursday night. The Cowboys head to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a 7.5-point favorite. Super Bowl champs. They brought back every single starter on their team. Cowboys. You have Dak Prescott question: is his arm ready? You have new defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. Can they play defense this year? Because they were just atrocious on epic levels last year. They're going to miss their best offensive lineman due to COVID precautions. I don't know if he has it or whether he was close to someone, which will affect their running game. I like the Bucks prime time. I think the Cowboys, as usual, every year,
too much
overrated.
hype. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. The Bucks are too good. I see the Bucks winning by 2 touchdowns.
2 words. Cowboys suck. I mean, really, they're not. I'm not scared. And it's all these homers. It's awesome about the Cowboys. They're gonna run away. I'm not scared by at all with the Cowboys. I am not afraid of that team at all. I think the Giants match up
They're going to score
terrific
a
against
ton
them.
of points. They're going to score a ton of
Not
points.
on the Giants defense.
Well,
Not on my defense. And
settle
honestly,
settle
the
down.
Giants, all the Giants got to worry about is just going to Dallas and winning a game. That's all they're going to worry about. They'll get it done.
We all know what the Giants got to worry about. Their offensive line. That's going to
But
dictate
yes,
everything.
the Buccaneers, yes.
Buccaneers. All right. Then we kick off the 1 o'clock games on Sunday. Arizona Cardinals at the Tennessee Titans. Titans a 3-point favorite. I feel like in the offseason, all the big talk until right up before camp was Cardinals, J.J. Watt, A.J. Green. They bring in these guys. They're still a 500 team. The Titans bring in Julio Jones, which I feel like kind of got glossed over. And people talked
Yeah.
about it, but they didn't get excited about it. Ryan Tannehill is one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL. You give him a receiver that size. I think people are just sleeping on Tennessee. I don't know why. I think the Cardinals, yes, they have loads of offensive weapons. I think
So the
Tennessee's
Cowboys.
good. Yeah, I like Tennessee. I'd say in the 5 point range, it's not going to be a blowout because the Tennessee will control the clock, ground and pound. I think Tennessee's going to take this one.
I agree, and it's such a great connection to other sports and some of the New York sports. It's like it's a great. It's not a quote, but it's like a great statement to say. Like offense, like people get so hype about offense, and it's hilarious. I mean, we know it personally with the Rangers, with the or not the Giants, with the Rangers, the Yankees, and you look at these other teams like Dallas. You rack offense is not all it's put out. If you have awesome offense, you're not going to win the Super Bowl if you don't have defense. And you look at that's what I'm excited about this year is the Giants offense is not supposed to be their number one part of their team. And I feel like you can't ride on you can have a terrific offense. You could. I mean,
Yeah, the
you
greatest
see that
show on turf. The
you see
Rams
that,
took
yeah.
took them there.
Like I know I'm connected to a baseball game. The way the Yankees hit like 250 homers a couple years ago. But if you don't have pitching, you don't have defense in these sports, you're not going to
Yep.
win it. You're not going to be as successful. You'll be successful, but you're not going to be as successful as what you want to reach, and that's like the Super Bowl, obviously. So I'm not for any of these offensive like mastermind built like
Well, in the
offensive teams.
regular
So
seasons, these offensive teams do win games. It's when you lock the screws down. But who do you got in that game? Cardinals, Tennessee.
definitely Tennessee, and I think the Cardinals will be great against defenses that are trash, like
I
Dallas,
think
like those will be
I
shootout.
think Dart Cardinals will have great games where they shock you and they score a ton of points, but they're equally going to have games where you're like, this team's not that good.
Well, what are you going to do where you face a lockdown defense like the Bucks, the Giants, the Redskins or football team? I mean, like, what are you going to do? Like, because they will. You're not going to be as successful against these teams who will put pressure on the quarterback. And Kyler Murray, yeah, he can run, but you can't run every single
Well,
play. Like,
speaking of the Washington football team, they're next up on the list. That they start at home. They've got new shiny quarterback Ryan Fitzmagic, who has
it's
probably the
magic.
best weapons he's ever thrown to in his life. Terry McLaurin is one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL. Guy had 1,000 yard receiving season with
But I
three of
haven't
the.
seen him being good. Like, I know he's a good
Slow
wide
down and let
receiver.
me finish. The Redskins have a top-rated defense. Everyone loves their
Hmm.
defense. It's yes, they love Ron Rivera. They're the division winners last year. They are a 1 point underdog, a 1.5 point underdog at home to the Los Angeles Chargers, who bring in
Agreed.
a, one of the young studs at quarterback that everyone loves. I think the Chargers are an underrated team. Now you could go into your point on the football team about Terry McLaurin, but Terry McLaurin was having Dwayne Haskins, Alex Smith, and I forget the third quarterback that was throwing to him, and he's still got 1,000 yards. You get that guy the ball in open field, he is lethal. He is speed. All these things about the Washington football team, I hear everyone picking them to win the division. I think the Chargers are going to win this one. I think the Chargers are going to win by a touchdown. Uh, Chargers are a better team than people think. It's not that Washington's that bad. Washington will score. Washington has a great defensive line, number one picks across it, and they will have good games. But when I see Ron Rivera, I see mediocre team.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
they're going to be
I
right.
I 100% agree with you, and I think everyone's like, well, Washington's got all these great aspects, but it's all unexperienced aspects. I mean, like this team is a very unexperienced team. They have great talent defensively, but I still like with all this talent put together, I'm not if I'm a fan of any team to face them, home or away, I'm not afraid. Like I'm not afraid to face them unless my team's terrible.
These,
Like
these
they're
these are teams that are you're not scared of. No
and
one in the league is
I'm
scared.
not yeah, I'm not scared of them and like people are like shocked by that. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's more like why I wouldn't be afraid of them is more their like inexperience. But the Chargers are a great offense, and I just feel like I just have a feeling they'll outplay Washington. And Washington doesn't do well against a lot of opponents out of conference. They don't do well with opponents in their division, and so I think you could
Sounds like
say
they
that.
don't do well at all.
Well, like they could do that occasional game against a good Seattle team, like a good other NFC division team. They will. Every team's gonna have those occasional games where they shine out. But I don't know. I'm just not afraid of
All right.
Washington. I don't have
Yeah.
faith in them, and I'd say the
All right.
Chargers.
All right. Chargers next game up. Vikings giving 3 points to the Bengals. The Bengals are at home. I find this to be an interesting game when you're trying to figure out who is going to win.
Yeah.
The Vikings, early in the preseason, people had them sleeper Super Bowl favorite. They have an unbelievable wide receiving core. Um, the defense was not the defense we know from the Vikings and their coach the last couple of years. Bengals, Joe Burrow's back, loaded at wide receiver again. I think they have they have a great running back in Mixon. I'll be honest, I'm not too up on how their defense is playing. Who do you got in this one, man?
For sure, the Vikings. I'm not convinced that Burrow's just going to come back and just light it up like the way he was once he got injured. He might be a one-hit wonder. We don't know that yet. Not excited about Jamar Chase. I don't think there's a lot to be excited about at
A lot of
all.
drops from
I
Jamar
know,
Chase.
like there's so much hype on him being with Burrow. I think honestly, the Bengals are a little bit of a laughing stock right now by drafting him over the offensive lineman. I think it's hilarious. One of the biggest draft mistakes of this
Uh,
decade.
some
Um,
might be saying the Giants should have been taking the offensive lineman instead of trading back,
no,
but
he wasn't.
let's
He
not
wasn't
let's
there. He wasn't there.
they could have taken Slater from Northwestern, I believe. Anyway, let's not get caught
Uh,
up in that draw. I like the
but
Vikings
yeah,
too. I think Joe Burrow is going to be good. I just think the Vikings, they could throw the ball, they could run the ball down your throat. Bengals just don't have 4 quarters of talent to
and
keep up with it.
you don't know if their offense is gonna be in shambles like week one. I mean, like look at some of these. I know college is a different game, but similar.
Yeah,
Some of these teams week one look in shambles. Like Clemson's offense looked all over the place. Like
yeah.
they
That
wouldn't have
college and
connection.
NFL are not the same thing. Let's not talk about Clemson. I know we'll get to that when we do the picks earlier in the week. I know that's a devastating one for you.
But I know the offenses though. Either like I'm worried about the Giants offense. Frankly, I don't know how
As
is
we
this going
should.
to
So let's
be
wait till we
put
get to that
together.
game. Next game
Yeah.
up, the Jets travel to Carolina. Interesting storyline. Whoever made the schedule, having Sam Darnold play his team at home. Carolina is the favorite by 3.5. I don't think the Jets are good. I sit here in this New York environment. I hear the Jets fan be, our defense is going to be great. You're the youngest team in the league. You're starting a rookie quarterback. Carolina's going to win this by at least a touchdown. I hope Sam Darnold throws for 5 touchdown passes, to be honest with you. It will hurt me with the Daniel Jones thing, but to shut up the Jets fans, I would like him to have the best game of his NFL career this week and just cause torture to the Jets fans.
I think the Jets are going to win this game, and I'll tell
All
you why.
right.
I absolutely no faith in the Carolina Panthers. I see this team every year.
And you're the Carolina guy.
I hear all the homers down here. Oh, it's the year Panthers year. No, Sam Darnold's not a good quarterback. We saw it in the Jets. I don't think a coach is going to change anything about the system. He's honestly coming to a smaller like environment media wise, and honestly, not as much pressure on him. So honestly, we might see more mistakes. I don't have faith in him. I think the Jets have a lot to prove, and they might come out and shock with their. I like their offense. I think their offense is very, very good. Their defense, yeah, all the Jets fans like to talk about that so much. Their defense
They
is
lost
not
their
that
two.
good.
They lost their best.
Yeah, their defense is
Lost
not that
two of their
good.
best players on defense right out of the gate. But
Yeah, I
that's
mean
a
they're
good. So
they're
there we differ. I like it. I like it. We got to go different directions. Next up, the Eagles, the most annoying team in the league.
no way they're winning this game.
They travel to Atlanta. Atlanta is a 3.5 point favorite. Atlanta, no Julio Jones, but they do bring in the hype machine at tight end, their rookie tight end, who we'll see where he will be all over the field.
Kyle Pitts.
Um, Eagles, Jalen Hurts is probably a good test for him to play Atlanta as the first team. Atlanta, I like. I think people are estimating that the Eagles. In my mind, like I've told you before, I don't think the Eagles are a good team. I don't think they have depth. I think their offensive line can be good, but it's typically injured. Um, New coach, I don't think they're in sync. I like Atlanta to take this one.
You ready for the most biased thing you've ever heard? Eagles, Jalen Hurts is not good. Devontae Smith is I
I,
forget the
I,
word, but he's not going to be good. I've been telling everyone, Jalen Waddle, keep your eyes on Jalen Waddle, and I was right.
I
I
think
was
the
right, and it was
Vikings will be
hilarious.
good, but you got to have someone to throw to them.
And their defense is not as good as they say it is, and their offensive line, right? Isn't that the one that they're having
They
serious
have
issue is
they have good players at offensive line. They're just always hurt. That's their
we'll
problem.
take
So,
Kelsey. We'll take Kelsey. He knows what he's doing.
yeah, he seems like a Philly for life guy. Anyway, two other great franchises. The Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Buffalo. Let's hope I hear the Buffalo is close to getting a new stadium deal. I don't know if that is true, but
That would be cool. That would be good.
it's a fun place to see. I went up and saw Rangers on a Saturday night play the Sabres, and on a Sunday the Giants Bills game. That was many
Nice.
moons ago, but that was a weekend. Buffalo's a great sports town. They're 6.5. They're given 6.5 points to the Steelers, which it's a long time. I think since the Steelers been a big underdog like this. I like the Bills. I like the Bills big.
Oh,
I think this Mike Tomlin is a great coach. He has had a never been under 500 and a long tenure with teams that I don't think have always been great. He finds a way to win. I think it's going to take him a little longer into the season to find wins, and Bills are too good.
I have the Bills by 3 touchdowns at least.
Oh,
Honestly, Roethlisberger, I don't even know. Is he still their quarterback? I haven't
yeah.
kept up with them.
This should be Roethlisberger should be his last hurrah. But he's got another. They're
He's not
changing.
good.
They're changing the offense, um, which is a big deal. So we'll see what that turns into. Yeah, I think this is the first time for a while the Steelers it just doesn't come together. But they proved.
It always collapses at
Yeah.
some point. But I'm not with. I don't have faith in Roethlisberger. I don't have faith in the Steelers this year. I love the Bills. Honestly, I was hating on them until I realized I was like, I thought it was going to be trouble if they won the Super Bowl because here comes all the Buffalo fans out of nowhere and
Uh,
like we're there. Oh, now it's like, oh, it's great.
Before I got
But
married, Buffalo was my number two team. They're a New York team, same colors, great fans, great
I
place.
mean,
State of New
honestly,
York. I'll
yeah.
root for the Bills behind the Giants and Bears all day long.
And I hate Pennsylvania sports, so yeah, that just
Yeah,
adds to it. So
just
Buffalo
move.
by far.
Buffalo, big win you got. 49ers and Detroit Lions. Two
Oh,
teams
son.
on opposite ends of the spectrum. 49ers, 7.5 point favorite. Detroit, a lot of new faces, new coach, new quarterback.
Yeah.
Niners are going to beat them up. They're Detroit. If Detroit comes out and plays this game close, it's a very good sign that they may have picked the right coach in Dan Campbell.
Mhm.
But the 49ers are my pick to be an NFC West champion, so I don't think this
Yeah.
one's close.
I say I got the 49ers by 2 possessions. I think the Lions have a lot to prove, but they're still at moral victory level, and I don't think they're at actual victory level against a team like the Niners, who looked pretty good in the preseason. And with that whole offense intact, no injuries, wouldn't want to be a team I'd be wanted to face. So yeah,
Next
definitely
up's
Niners.
one of the closer games of the week. Real good football matchup. Seahawks travel to the Colts. Colts are at home. I believe Carson Wentz is going to play as of right now, although he hasn't practiced basically at all. Seahawks, I don't know if I don't know if we'll have to Google that, if they have resolved their offensive line, whether they signed Brown and he'll be able to play.
Hmm.
Uh, Colts got great defense, great offensive line, can run the ball. I like
Yeah,
Seattle.
I like the
I like,
Colts here.
yeah.
I feel like they. I don't
If
know.
this was week
Lucas Oil. It's
Yeah, if it was week 8, and Wentz had more time to get assimilated with the offense, I would agree. I feel like Seattle tricks teams when they're not supposed to win. They catch teams off guard. I like Seattle by a field goal in this one.
I think it's gonna be close. I agree with that, but I just like Seattle sometimes. Like you don't. I feel
You
like you
just
don't
don't know
know
why
it.
they win.
You
Yeah,
don't
I
know
agree.
what Seattle team's gonna come. Like, is it gonna be Russell Wilson on his game with Chris Carson and
But I'm going to
DK
go with
Mac.
Russell Wilson on this one, and he's going to be scrambling for his life, throwing haymaker bombs to Tyler Lockett. Next up is
Yeah.
probably the most boring game on the NFL Week 1 schedule, although it is a close game. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who there is hope with Trevor Lawrence, your boy, that they are going in the right direction. Meanwhile, there's the Houston Texans, who are willing to trade pretty much any veteran on the roster. The Deshaun Watson situation is a disaster. They may be paying him $10 million to just sit at home. I think Houston's going to be the worst team in the NFL this year.
I agree with that.
I'm going to go
Where
with
is this game? Where is this game?
It is in Houston, Jacksonville, a 3-point favorite. I think it's going to be a close, horrible game. I'm going to give it to Jacksonville just because I think Texans are just so bad.
This couldn't
I
be a
don't think
better.
Jacksonville's any good.
Yeah, I mean, this couldn't be a better Week 1 matchup for a guy like Trevor Lawrence to start off kind of like on the right foot,
Yeah, this is
get
the
some
dream.
confidence. Yeah, because you don't want to be facing as a rookie. You don't want to be facing like a shutdown, a lockdown
Denver
defense, like
right out of the gate.
yeah, like and well yeah, but
Denver defense locked and loaded. Oof. Von
but
Miller. Have you heard him speaking? Ugh. Well, we'll get to that later. But oh man,
I definitely got Jacksonville. Trevor looked pretty good in this. If he didn't play that well in his last preseason game, maybe I'd give a little more credit or a little more excuse.
Don't worry about the
But,
preseason. I think Texans are going to be bad enough that they can't mess with Trevor, and he'll be able to get a couple scores, and the Jets
and
will get off
if he
those.
gets out of the pocket too,
I don't think it's going to go great the whole season, but Texans are the worst team in the NFL. All right, we move to the 4 o'clock games now. There's 4 of them on the docket for the first week. Great game. Cleveland Browns travel to Kansas City. Kansas City 5.5-point favorite. Everyone loves these two teams to be in the running for the. When you look at the AFC, you got the Chiefs, the Browns, the Bills. There are some really great teams for the Super Bowl. With all the hype of the Browns, until I see it happen on the field, I'm sticking with the Mahomes and the Chiefs, and the Chiefs I think will win this.
100%.
Until I see the Browns be who they say they're going to be, I've heard a lot of hype for a lot of years.
Oh, what? Actually, sorry, I mixed up. I thought I was thinking about a different team when you were saying the Chiefs are facing the Browns. I was thinking about like the Bengals or something. The Browns are going to win that game. I'll tell you why. The Chiefs completely stole a playoff game from them last year. Should have never won that game. Should have never even been the Super Bowl. Browns are come out with a little fire. They're going to be pissed about that. I think it's good for them to win. I like their offense. I'm not saying Odell coming back is going to do anything. I'd like a little fire and intensity, kind of to shock the world, to beat the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs are going to play a bad game. I think it's going to be close, and I think the Browns win by a possession.
If the Browns win, it's because they ran the ball effectively, and the Chiefs' brand new Super Bowl offensive line was not in sync out of the gates against the good Browns defense. The Browns are going to have to win it with running and defense. The Chiefs are going to win by just shooting you out of the building. Next up, game, 2 teams I do not like at all. The Dolphins travel to New England, where New England's a slight 2.5-point favorite.
You don't like the Dolphins?
I don't like Miami. I don't like Florida at all. I mean, your team is a pink dolphin on a teal blue uniform. Not my thing. Dolphins are pathetic. Plus, if you remember, Uncle Johnny used to trash them all the time. He was a great Brooklyn guy, moved down to Florida, and used to trash Dan Marino and the Dolphins all the time. But as much as it hurts me for the fans, I'm telling you, the Patriots are going to crush them. It's going to be bad. The Dolphins are not a bad team, but I think they're a little out of sorts right now. It's good. I don't think
the Patriots are going to crush them. I think the Patriots are going to win. I don't think they're going to crush them. I was not impressed. Again, relying on a preseason game, I was not impressed in the least by Mac Jones against the Giants. He looked in shambles.
I thought he was great against the Giants.
Well, he looked in shambles, like his first drive, like all over the place. Almost takes a delay a game. Like, honestly, what's going on?
He was throwing back shoulder passes he was throwing guys open.
I think the big thing is also we can't go 100% off that because the Giants didn't play they almost played their full defense, but they didn't play their complete
You have
defense in
no
that
idea.
game. Yeah,
You're right. He is going to run into something he has not seen it yet, and
and
the
I and
Dolphins
you and
staff.
he's not in college playing terrible teams with your
This is going to be.
Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Mechie, Najee Harris. Like you don't got those guys with you this time, and a shutdown offensive line. It's going to be a little tougher for him. I don't think he's going to look bad, but he's definitely going to win the game. Help Patriots win this game. I'm intrigued to see how he plays this game and how well he does.
All right. Here's another interesting game. Green Bay Packers 3-point favorite traveling to New Orleans Saints. Now, had Drew Brees been starting, I would tell you New Orleans Saints at home. I like this. This looks like Aaron Rodgers versus the Saints because I don't think the Green Bay Packers are nearly as good as everyone is telling us. Him and Freeman could throw the ball all over the yard and score tons of points.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I trust the Saints right now until I see how these quarterbacks play in the real
I agree
season.
with that. Yeah.
I'm going to go shocking, though, and I'm going to take the Saints. This game, I think they're playing in Jacksonville, and the reason that they're playing in Jacksonville is because they wanted to make it as hard as humanly possible for Packers fans to fly there to try to eliminate the
Is it
crowd.
because of the hurricane?
Because of the hurricane.
Well, honestly,
I'd almost think
that
that
settles the whole deal for me. Definitely, the Packers are going to win now. Honestly, I don't think Taysom Hill's as good as people say he is, and the
it's
Saints
not
play
good.
really well in the dome. So if they're not
I
in the
agree.
dome, they're not going to win.
Yeah, I just feel like something's funny is going to go on in that game. So somehow the
It's
Saints
going
are
to be
going to pull.
close. I
All
say
right,
the Packers though.
our last 4 o'clock game. Denver Broncos traveling to the Giants. I read some quotes this week how there was no team more perfectly matched to beat the Giants than the Denver Broncos because
That's not true at all.
everywhere the Giants are weak, Denver is strong. The Denver's defense is terrific. They have one of the best secondaries, if not the best secondary in the NFL. They have
What? Who's on their secondary?
look it up. Why? Because
No,
I know
okay.
you're talking Giants. You're looking through the Giants lens, but Denver is going to be one of the best defenses in the NFL. Um, they get their best guy back. He's going. I'm scared to see him take on the Giants' offensive line. Um, I'm a homer. I'm going with the Giants. It's gonna. Most people are going with Denver. But I think the Giants are going to show you something that they haven't seen before. I think Daniel Jones is going to have a rough game because Denver's defense is going to be all over him. But I think the Giants' defense is going to be all over the Broncos' offense as well. I think it's going to be an ugly, sloppy, low-scoring game. But I'll take the Giants because I'm a homer.
I have a couple questions first. One, confirmed or not, I don't know because I haven't been getting a lot of these updates. Is Saquon Barkley, Kadarius Toney, and Galladay playing Week 1?
Uh,
Do we know any of those
we
if they're
we
playing?
we're assuming Galladay's playing. We're assuming Saquon is playing on a pitch count or whatever you want to call it, like a limited. He's not going to get like 40 touches in the game. I would assume he's going to get maybe 15 touches in that game. Um, no, Tony has been practicing.
Sounds
It
like mine.
sounds like it's like he got COVID and then that just kept lingering with him and he wasn't feeling good, which made it hard to practice. It doesn't sound like he feels back to 100%. Maybe we see him for a couple plays, but it doesn't sound,
What about
we're just
Rudolph? Rudolph?
Rudolph should be playing. He's
All right.
practicing it. So then you look at and I'll go to the Broncos secondary. They have a third round pick, which I can, Michael Ojemudia. They
Sounds
had
good.
replaces AJ Bouye and Brian Clint Callahan, who played out of slot. But Denver has Kyle Fuller, Ronald Darby, and Patrick Surtain II, a top 10 pick, all able to move into that. Pro Football Focus has them as the number one defensive backfield in football.
All right. Let me give it to you. And this is going to be a very descriptive um statement or whatever discussing this game. Giants defense is better than the Broncos, and I'll tell you why. James Bradbury is a better cornerback than anyone in their secondary of the Broncos. I don't think it's close. James Bradbury is a top 5 cornerback in the NFL. Um, Logan Ryan, we'll see. Jabril Peppers, we'll see. Adoree Jackson, Darnay Holmes. What are they going to? I don't even know if Darnay Holmes is still on their team, but we'll see what happens there.
The Giants. I mean, Julian Love has been great in the preseason.
Love him.
The Giants are going to play 5 guys. Well, Bradbury and Adoree Jackson will be locked up on the outside. Inside, you're going to see 3 safeties rotating in and out, and the slot corner rotating in and out. They're going to try to mix it up all the time based on run or pass. It's going to be interesting.
But then with linebacker wise, I don't know. I just know Mayo and Martinez for the Giants. I know that's a pretty good combo. Then
they've also
D-line by far in the Giants' favor. D-line not even close.
The Giants D-line versus Denver's D-line.
Yeah. Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence is a much better tag team than whatever they throw up.
Are you serious?
I don't even know who's on their D-line, but I already know I'm going to be right.
Von Miller.
Okay, there's one.
Yeah. Bradley Chubb.
Yeah, he's all right.
He's all right. Shelby Harris.
That's 2. That 2 for 2.
Shelby Harris, an 88.3 grade in 2020, the most underrated defender in the NFL last year.
All right.
Bradley Chubb.
We'll say this.
Is, without Von Miller, was the first year that he was under 90 on a Pro Football Focus grade. He's had
we'll give that.
Here's the quote: an absurd stretch of dominance. Now you're bringing back Von Miller, who was at one point the best defensive player in the league. Both of those guys are better than. Look, I love the Giants, but you're just totally downgrading what's going on.
But let me make this then. Let me make my last point on this. Okay, we'll make the defense even. All right, it's pretty neck and neck. I think you could maybe give advantage to one team or advantage to the other. But the thing that's going to change the game is the Giants' offense compared to the Broncos' offense. The Giants have an experienced, somewhat NFL quarterback that I don't really like, but whatever. Drew Lock's. I mean,
it's not.
He's not as good as Dan. He's not.
Drew Lock will not be playing. It will be Teddy Bridgewater. Even
better, honestly. And you look at the Giants, healthy Galladay, somewhat healthy Barkley, Shepard. If he is not the number 1 wide receiver, not getting the focus, he'll sneak into the game plan. Saw it a little bit in the preseason. Slayton catch the ball, Ingram catch the ball, and if those guys do it,
Ingram does not look like he's going to play.
And if Rudolph can slide in and play decently, and if their offensive line can have a mediocre game, the Giants' offense is just at a different level than the Broncos' offense. I know the defenses are elite, especially the Broncos, because now I didn't really know who's on their defense, but you told me. I thought it was just like in shambles, like some random defense.
They're going to be a top 10 defense in the NFL.
But the Giants' offense is just way more experienced, and Jerry Jeudy's a good wide receiver. Teddy Bridgewater's an experienced quarterback, but he's old. He's not elite, and he's not going to tear apart the Giants secondary with Jerry Jeudy. So
no, he's much more game manager, which is kind of critical.
Exactly, and that's better for the Giants, and that's why I think ESPN has this game saying the Giants have a 53% chance to win compared to the 46% chance of the Broncos. That's why I think the Giants have that slight advantage, and I think that comes from the offensive ground.
You know I want it to happen. You know I'm a huge Giants fan, I just have these nightmares of Von Miller just throwing Daniel Jones around like a rag doll.
Well, he's going to have to get rid of the ball, so throw it out of bounds, throw it to someone.
Don't throw it
to the defense. But
let's keep it moving. Another what could be a very bad night for your uncle here, as the Chicago Bears have to travel to the Los Angeles Rams. I believe this will be the first time there's fans in the SoFi Stadium in LA. I don't think at any point last year they had them. Rams are a 7.5-point favorite. Andy Dalton started.
Oh God.
Rams defense looks absolutely dominant. I mean,
this is gonna be a blowout. I'm sorry.
Let's hope Caroline's not listening and move on from this one. Rams big. This never happened.
I mean, let me say a couple of notes about the Bears. Honestly, because I don't know why they're starting Andy Dalton or I want to see what Justin
I,
Fields
I think
has.
it's smart to start Andy Dalton. I'll let you
All right,
finish
but
it.
like, all right, use his experience against the Rams.
It's not
The
about
Rams
it's
are at
not
a different level than the Bears. Bears, I still
it,
think are a decent football team. Rams are
yeah.
up here.
Rams are Super Bowl competitor if they stay healthy. Their
I hope
defense.
the Bears win. I'm cheering for the Bears,
Yeah.
but I have the
Me
Rams.
too, but I agree. I think the Rams are just a really good team. I think Andy Dalton's starting because if you put a rookie out there with all this hype game one and he flops, you can't go backwards. And
You're
then
right.
then
Yeah,
there's a lot
I
of
agree with
stress.
that.
I think for the long-term future, it's best let him sit a couple games. If they lose and Andy Dalton does bad, then the expectations aren't as great. If Andy
I
Dalton's playing
agree.
decent and you put in a rookie quarterback and he's struggling, and then you get people be like that he's not our best chance to win this year. The only reason Andy Dalton should be starting is just give take the pressure off what could be your franchise quarterback and give him a chance to like get his feet wet in the NFL, understand the
Yeah.
traveling protocol, everything that goes on, the preparation of the week, and then by week 4 when I'm there, you announce that he's the starter and I get to go to his first game ever. It would be perfect.
Who they playing?
When I go to, they play Detroit.
Oh, so you guys made sure you picked a game that they should win.
It's just a coincidence that last game was
Yeah.
Detroit as well.
Wait, the last game was
They almost
Detroit
blew.
too. At least it wasn't
Yeah,
Green Bay. Don't pick Green Bay.
well,
Not
not
good.
quite yet. Maybe when Justin Fields a couple years from now.
That's once Rodgers retires. So do a Green
Next
Bay
year,
game.
then it'll be good. The
And
last game on the docket for the week, Monday Night Football, Baltimore Ravens. They're a 4.5-point favorite. They go to Vegas. Vegas, first time fans ever in. I don't know what the nickname for that stadium is.
Elegant or whatever it is, something like that.
Allegiant Field, but I feel like they had the name, whether it's the black hole or something. Darth Vader's helmet. It looks like
Nah,
it's a crazy looking stadium with Al Davis's torch. I'm pumped to watch this game because I think the crowd
agreed.
go bananas. Week 1 for them, Vegas, but let's face reality. Ravens are a better team, and the Ravens will win. Even losing J.K. Dobbins, I think the Ravens will run it down their throat, and their
I,
defense too.
I like the Raiders. I like the Raiders. I don't like Lamar Jackson. I don't think that brand of football fits in the NFL, even though he's been successful. Like with the quarterback sneaks, eventually it seems every year with the Ravens. I forget how many years he's now been in the NFL, but it seems like they have good years. But once they get to the playoffs, the way their system kind of works kind of
Well,
goes against them.
we're not in the playoffs yet.
But I don't think going into this new stadium, Las Vegas, they don't really care about COVID, so they're gonna pack that stadium full. So I'm excited to see that game. It's gonna be a good crowd game. I I think Las Vegas rides off the energy, and the ESPN has the matchup predictor has 57% chance for Ravens to win. I'm not confident if I'm a Ravens fan in this game. I'm not like, oh, we got this in the bag. I think
No,
this is gonna
I'm
be a
not
good game.
saying you got in it bag. I honestly want that. If I was from a rooting efforts, I wish the Raiders would win. I feel like the NFL is better when the Raiders are good, even though I don't want them to win anything. It's just they're a big
Fan
fan.
base.
They're a big fan base. People get excited about them. They're good to play the villain. If Gruden was like leading a villainous team into every city, like it would be great for the NFL. But I think the Ravens Ravens win every year. They're consistently a solid, great run
That's
organization
true.
that
Yeah.
they always bring in talent. So who are you going with? You taking the Raiders?
I think it's gonna be a good game. I think the Raiders do come out with a one possession or two possession win over the
All right.
Ravens tonight
Well, with that,
or that day.
we'll finish up the NFL. We'll get to you before next week's games with a little bit of fantasy waiver wire pickups. Um, for those of you who don't know, I love picking up obscure players off the waiver wire. That trying to think 3 weeks in advance. So hopefully it will help you there. And we'll get to our college picks. We'll recap our college picks. I think we did okay. We weren't lights out, but I think the games we lost, everybody lost. Um, some shocking games in there. But Matty,
Yeah. I
I'll
mean,
see you later, buddy.
yeah, we'll have this one quick note. I'll make sure to post this episode everyone before Wednesday because I sometimes forget that there's always a Thursday night game for the
NFL.
NFL. And obviously we'll do our recap of college football this week, and then, like you said, fantasy football. And I just hope week 1 for the Giants, they get a good crowd at MetLife Stadium. Hope it's not blue.
Ah,
I hope
they'll
they
have a
get a
full
good crowd.
house.
Yeah, I hope so. Honestly, I feel like that'd be a cool game to go to. I'd rather sit at home and watch it. Well, that's not true, but I mean, whatever. I'm excited for this game. I think it's gonna be a good year for the Giants. I think it's a good year for the NFL. Some good shocking teams. I feel like will bring some excitement to it, and it might not be the same. I don't think the same powerhouses stay up top like the Chiefs,
Well,
Packers this year.
that will be fun to see. Injuries will be a big
Yeah.
part of it. Until then, Matty, I'll see you on Wednesday.
All right. We'll see you guys.
All right, love you, buddy.